warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sahabat Rumah Belajar, introduce my name is Herlina, an English teacher at SMA and Kelakah Lumajang, East Java. On this occasion, I made an English learning video to fulfill the task of combative level 3 I was following. Okay, in this video, I will discuss narrative text for the first grade student. Narrative text. Basic competency 3.8 Distinguishes social function, structure of the text, linguistic element of several oral and written narrative texts by giving and asking for information related to folk legend simply in accordance with the context of the use. 4.8 Capture contextual meaning related to social function, text structure, and linguistic element of the simple narrative, oral, and written text related to folk legend. Objectives of the study. First, students are able to identify the social function of narrative text. Second, students are able to identify the structure of narrative text. Third, students are able to identify language features of narrative text. There are various types of narrative text. Narrative text usually are imaginary, but they can also be factual. The type of story include fairy tales, mystery story, science fiction, romance, horror, fables, and others. There are some of narrative story. The Fox and the Crow, Timun Mas and Buto Ijo, Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty. Social function of narrative text. The main purpose of narrative text is to entertain, get and maintain the attention of the reader or the listener on story. By reading or hearing interesting narrative text, someone can enjoy them and even take the wisdom that they can convey. This text can also aim to educate or inform, convey the author reflection about his experience, and perhaps to develop the reader imagination. Generic structure of narrative text. First, orientation. This feature contains how a story is arranged. Usually, a narrative begins with orientation or setting. Here, the author paints the world for the story. During this stage, the reader is introduced the character and their character in the story, and usually when and where they are mentioned also occur. Second, complication. This complication makes the story more interesting because the main character is blocked for reaching his original goal or even triggering another event. Complications are a reflection of real life and is a belief in the reader and that any problem can be resolved. Third, resolution. A satisfying narrative story will give resolution to complication. This resolution usually provides a solution to complication. Language feature of narrative text. Linguistic feature of narrative text consists of 1. Specific participant and often individual. 2. Using the past tense form because the story of the event occurred in the past. 3. Use of the action verb, material process, and other are used verbal and mental processes. 4. Use adjective or information to specify people, animals, place, or action. 5. Use linking word with regard to time. 6. Use direct or indirect expression. 7. Descriptive language is used to create an impression on the reader's mind. And 8. can be written at the first I or the third person he, she, they, or second person you. After you understand about social function, generic structure, and language feature of narrative text, now I will show you the example of narrative text. The example of narrative text. Orientation. John slumped in the armchair, his arm crossed and his face with a gloomy frown. He was a new kid in town, but no one knew he was even there. John didn't like anybody, and they didn't like him. All day, he sat in the armchair, staring out the window. Complication. Through the window, he saw a gigantic hollow tree in vacant lot. The tree seemed to call him. He stood slowly up, then started to walk toward the tree. Its branches were very thin, and its roots dug into the ground like claws. The tree had thorns all over it. John tried to turn away from the tree, but he couldn't. A mysterious force was pulling him into the hollows. Resolution. John never reappeared, but no one noticed or cared. I think that's all for our lesson of narrative text for the first grade English class. Dengan rumah belajar, kita belajar di mana saja, kapan saja, dan dengan siapa saja. Terus semangat belajar. Don't forget to subscribe. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.